try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the major rally that Bitcoin has experienced over the last 24 hours. That's right. After Bitcoin dropped beneath $100,000 on Sunday, we have witnessed a massive rally all the way back up to $105,700. And today, I'm going to be detailing exactly why that is taking place. As usual, we're going to be looking at the geopolitical reasons, the technical reasons, and the fundamental reasons why this rally is occurring on Bitcoin. And we're going to talk about whether or not this invalidates the short-term target of $92,000 that we've been talking about. There is a great possibility that that has been invalidated as a result of a hopeful ceasefire between Iran and Israel. If you've been watching the news, you will know that Trump and team seemingly have brokered some kind of ceasefire, probably under threat to both sides. We don't know whether that's going to hold or not. There are reports coming out every few minutes about that ceasefire being broken, and so we're going to analyze that deal. We're going to look at the impact that it's having on the United States stock market and the Bitcoin market, and we're going to talk about where we are likely to head from here, not just based off of the technicals and the fundamentals, but also based off of an understanding of the way President Donald Trump thanks. If you're looking forward to today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more content. We've got a lot of really cool things coming up. Can't wait to get started. Let's give some big shout-outs to people in chat. Arthur DeVroom is here. Philippe Dakahuna is in chat. Crypto Surge is in chat. Christopher Ryans is in chat. Said, Jeb, love you, man. Love you too. Thank you so much. Smedley B's in chat. Said, good morning, Jeb. I'm enjoying a day off today. Good. Joy giving us the wave. Synergy Gaming's in chat. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's get started. We've got a lot to cover. Over on CoinMarketCap, we're going to see that Bitcoin is currently trading over $105,000, currently sitting at $105,600. This is a very exciting level that Bitcoin is sitting at because it means that Bitcoin has bounced remarkably powerfully off of our recent bottom down here around $98,500. Give me $98,500. Give me a 1 in chat. Did you buy that dip? Did you manage to pick up some sub $100,000 Bitcoin? That is the best kind of Bitcoin. There is no more tasty, more delicious kind of Bitcoin in this market than a sub $100,000 entry. Was very excited to get some positions in Bitcoin under $100,000 yesterday, or the day before rather. And obviously in that, we've already seen a 6% movement to the upside. Very excited to have the opportunity to lower our average cost basis. Let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump's Truth Social account. Truth Social, basically Donald Trump's personal blog, is a very important piece of news right now that you should be watching very closely because this is where Donald Trump is making certain announcements such as this one. 17 hours ago, last night, Donald Trump posted this. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. Of course, he's trying to get it called the 12-day war so that he can go down in history as the guy that ended the war in 12 days. There's also a lot of other wars in that region that are named by the amount of days that they lasted. So there is historical precedent for that. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel and Iran, etc. Now, this has obviously been one of the major pieces of news over the last 24 hours is this concept of a ceasefire. And if you scroll past all of Trump's patting himself on the back here, then you will see this post 13 hours ago. Israel and Iran came to me almost simultaneously and said, peace. I knew the time was now. The world and the Middle East are the real winners, etc. Let's continue moving along here and we can kind of track what's going on. Trump actually has kind of posted everything. And it's very interesting because we had a little bit of scolding coming out of Trump, which is very common for him within the last hour. Let me see if I can find the post here. I think it was right here. About 4 hours ago. Apologies. Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. An hour later, Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. So very, how shall we say, fragile ceasefire. As I said, there are updates coming out all the time about whether or not Israel and Iran are going to break this ceasefire. It is yet to be determined whether or not this is the end of the war. We can hope and pray that it is. I certainly hope that it is. So the takeaway from this right now is that the uncertainty that dropped us down to sub $100,000 is not yet over. There is still a near-term future scenario where Israel and Iran are launching missiles at each other. There is still a short-term possible scenario where the United States gets militarily involved in this conflict in a greater way than they already have. We did see Iran launch about 12 missiles at the base in Doha, in Qatar, yesterday, and 11 of them were shot down. One of them landed. This reminds me of something that Iran did several years ago during Trump's first administration, where in response to something that President Donald Trump had done, the Iranians phoned him and said, "We're going to shoot missiles at you to save face, but don't worry, we're going to miss." And they landed right outside of the military base. I think that's essentially what happened. Iran, to save face and to make themselves look all strong and everything to their own people, they had to launch some kind of retaliation. So they threatened to close the port. They threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. They launched a few missiles at the base in Doha, and knowing full well they got shot down, and there's even reports that they let the White House know that they were coming. Now, we don't know any of that to be certain, but what I do suspect is that Iran basically sat down, shut up, and played nice, and they wanted to save face with their people, so they launched a few missiles over at the United States, fully expecting and hoping that they get shot down so there was no further provocation. What this tells me is that the United States is currently in charge of the situation, and there is a great deal of respect for the authority that Donald Trump and the United States military is commanding in the region at the moment, or else you would have seen Iran launch a lot more attacks. I personally think that just about all of this was one big, I'm not going to say psyop, but just I think that this is just a big distraction. It's very interesting to me that the whole world knows, or at least they say they know. I mean, there's a lot of reports that Iran had moved the vast majority of their enriched uranium out of Nasfahan, Natanz, and Fordo before the attacks just a few days ago. If the world has that information, you have to wonder whether or not the President of the United States has that information. I'm not totally convinced that all of this isn't just some kind of massive distraction that everybody's in cahoots on. I don't know. I'm not. Tinfoil hat time, right? Go get some aluminum foil. We'll wear our tinfoil hats, right? So the aliens don't get us. You know, the whole lizard people running the government kind of thing. Who knows? I don't know. But what I do find interesting is that Iran's retaliation was obviously just a complete scam to make it look like they were retaliating. And what I also do find interesting is that in theory the Iranians had already moved most of their nuclear facility, most of their nuclear capabilities out of the bases that were just shot at. So we'll see what happens. I'm very I don't think we're getting all of the information. I don't think we know exactly what's going on over there. What I hope for is peace. And hopefully that's what we're going to see happen right now, because whether or not this is some kind of distraction or psyop or whatever you want to call it, people are dying. And so that the prayer is that we would see a ceasefire here. So getting back to markets, how has this impacted Bitcoin? Well, let's tell the story so far, and then we'll tell the story as it goes and see if we can do anything with this information that might be useful to our trading and our investing. Over the last couple of days, as it looked like World War III was going to break out, which it wasn't going to, but a lot of people were concerned about that. Bitcoin dropped from $106,000 back on the 20th, which was about 4 days ago, down to the local bottom of 98.5. This happened almost immediately after the president gave the green light for the B2s to go and drop the GBU-57 bunker busters on the Iranian sites at, again, Nasfahan, Natanz, and Fordo. We dropped 14 GBU-57 bombs, which equates to 420,000 pounds, 210 tons of ordnance on those bases, theoretically destroying them. Theoretically, we don't know. Again, who knows? The intelligence community split. The news is split. There's a bunch of different. Who the hell knows what's going on? All we know is something's going on in the Middle East. We don't really have a whole lot of information as to what. You don't know who the hell you can trust in these kind of situations. Who knows? All I hope for is peace. Anyway, Bitcoin has gone through a major rally over the last 24 hours as a result of that announcement that Donald Trump made. Leading into him making that, there was a lot of talk about a ceasefire deal. And then here at about 1800 hours last night, which is about 17 hours ago, again, I showed you the Truth Social post. You can kind of line up the timing here. This post that I originally showed you down past all of the patting himself on the back. Let's see it right here. You can see that there was, right about here was 17 hours ago. So 17 hours ago on the Bitcoin chart was roughly here. So leading up to, interestingly enough, leading up to President Donald Trump saying that there was a ceasefire, we saw a major rally on Bitcoin. When he said it, we started trading sideways. Curious. Wonder who was buying. Who do you think? Tell me in chat, who do you think was buying knowing that Donald Trump was about to announce that, to the point where the rally ended when he announced the ceasefire? Wouldn't you think that the rally would happen after he announced the ceasefire? Curious, huh? Very, very, very odd. I sniff BS. There's some manipulation going on here. I don't know exactly where it is, but some nonsense is going on in markets. I do wonder if it has to do with trying to get the interest rates to come down. I do wonder if it's to do with trying to get the Fed to slash interest rates. I do wonder if it has to do with elites buying Bitcoin. I do wonder if there's some nonsense going on behind the scenes because people understand the 4D chess that's going on here, which is that Bitcoin is going to go to $200,000, that Bitcoin is going to go to $500,000, that Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million. You give it 10 years, you will 10x your money in Bitcoin. It's a very difficult thing to do in business. Bitcoin is the new base rate. I've been saying this for a long time. It is the new base rate. If you can't beat it, buy it. And big corporations, big players, the Trump family understand that. If you can't beat it, buy it. And so what I think is going on right now is that the bears and the retail are getting shaken out. I told you yesterday or the day before when it looked like this was going to escalate into a regional conflict that $92,000 was on the table. That does look less likely right now, but we certainly don't know whether that's not going to happen or not. We'll look at the technicals in a minute. I never once, if you'll recall, advocated for you to go into a short trade in that case, or to sell your Bitcoin at all. Not once. Oh, believe me, if there's a short trade, I'll tell you. If there's an opportunity to short Bitcoin, I will tell you. I have nothing against you shorting Bitcoin if you see a good opportunity. I have nothing against you shorting some altcoin if you see a good opportunity or making a trade. Go for it. What I do want you to know is I didn't tell you to short. I said to buy the dip. And that's what I did. I hope you got the difference there. I didn't say go into a short trade because we're going to drop down to 92. There are some people, James Wynn, that have been in a massive short trade. That was very risky. If I thought it was a good time to go into a short trade, I would have told you it was a good time to go into a short trade. The reason that I didn't say that was because we don't know what's going to come across Donald Trump's desk, and we don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. When the market is responding to geopolitics, it's dumb to be trading when you have old information. And what I mean by that is that if you see a piece of information come out and you front run everybody else and get into a trade, great. Right? If you see some news like, oh man, a nuke just went off somewhere. Okay. If you see that early enough, nothing wrong going into a short. Or if you see that piece has been brokered and it's solid and it's good and you're like, yeah, we're about to go into a rally, nothing wrong with going into a long there. But what I do want you to understand is when you haven't heard anything in 12 hours and it's just a bunch of missiles shooting back and forth and you have no idea what the next move the players are going to make, Netanyahu, Khamenei, or Trump, you don't know what move these three chess grandmasters are going to make, then you got to wait a little bit for a good entry. And that's where you look at buying the dip. You see, there are some movements in markets that are good for trading, and there are some movements in markets that are good for investing. You should be building an investing portfolio at the very least, and for many of you guys, you should be building a trading position and a trading portfolio where you take the opportunity to take some of these trades. There are some excellent trade opportunities in front of us right now. And so you should at the very least be looking to add to your investment position for the long term when you see the possibility of a major corrective movement and when you see more solid evidence, especially based on technicals. That's when you get opportunities to go into trades. And so we'll talk a little bit about some trades that I think might be coming up here in just a minute, but let's look at our longer term technicals. One of the first things I want to point out to you is Lux Algo. This is a confirmed sell signal on Lux Algo, which is what I was anticipating and what I saw that said that, which is why we predicted a drop down to $92,000. Here's the issue. You have to look at the technicals and the fundamentals together. You have to look at them from a comprehensive standpoint. Right now, Lux Algo is flashing a sell signal, and the very day after it flashed the sell signal, the fundamental reason that the sell signal flashed went away. We saw this sell signal flash because Bitcoin dropped below $100,000. Perfect technical setup for a short trade. Perfect technical setup for a short trade. If things had not have changed, this would have been the most obvious short in the last 6 months, which is why James Wynn the famous trader over on X, took a short trade. The problem is the market was being manipulated by global events. And so you have to wait a minute before you go into a short trade when you don't know what the politics are going to do. You do really have to wonder if all three sides of this orchestrated this to get a lower entry. Probably not. But who knows? Probably not. And even if they didn't orchestrate it for the sake of getting a lower entry, don't you think they took advantage of it? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm very happy that Trump has seemingly brokered peace and whatnot. We'll see what happens. We don't know whether that's going to hold. But don't you think Trump's family, who just raised $2.3 billion to buy Bitcoin, don't you think they would have taken advantage of the opportunity to buy the dip? I'm not saying that they staged the crisis to cause a dip, but if there is a dip going on, I mean, aren't you going to take advantage of it? Didn't you take advantage of it? Didn't I take advantage of it? I bought the dip. I didn't cause the war. You do have to wonder. You do have to wonder. All right, so where are we going from here? The reason that it's difficult to tell you is the same reason it's been difficult to tell you for the last few days, because it all depends on what comes out of this guy's mouth. And it all depends on what kind of freaking explosives come out of Khamenei and Netanyahu. Watch Truth Social over here. Oh, I don't like Trump. Okay, fine. Watch Truth Social. You know why? Because the President of the United States is speaking there. And what comes out of his mouth moves markets. He is the single most powerful man on planet Earth, apart from the Lord Jesus Christ himself. And so you need to pay attention to global events. Sometimes people are like, yeah, why are you talking about geopolitics? Get back to crypto. Okay, you must be new here. Bitcoin was designed because of how broken the world is. That shows up most clearly on the world stage. If you want to see where the market's going to go, watch to see whether or not this ceasefire stays in effect. Once again, if you want to know where the market's going to go, then watch to see whether this ceasefire stays in effect. So, let's analyze whether it will. Because ultimately, that's the question, isn't it? Will it stay in effect? Let's analyze the sides. Donald Trump is feared by Khamenei. Let's analyze this from the things that are the easiest, or the things that we need to wonder about. Khamenei is scared of Trump, or he at least respects him. We can say that because of the very limited response from Iran. Iran, based on the leveling that's going on in Israel right now, has the military capability to flatten American bases in the region. Let me show you what I mean. Go on Google Maps. No, I'm not a robot. Or am I? Let's go on Google Maps, cross Bermuda. Let me just show you. The United States military base in Doha had missiles shot at it yesterday. 12 missiles. Qatar shot down 11 of them. One of them landed. No injuries or casualties occurred. Iran is right here. Here's Isfahan. Natanz is right there. And then Fordo is buried in here somewhere. Right, there it is, right there. Fordo, Natanz, Isfahan. Those were the three places that B-2 bombers dropped bombs. Iran, somewhere, we don't know where, launched 12 rockets at the base in Doha. The American Fifth Fleet, with an aircraft carrier, specifically, I think it might be the Nimitz, the USS Nimitz, not the Nimitz class, the USS Nimitz might be sitting right here. The Fifth Fleet, the American Fifth Fleet, is sitting right here. The missiles that were shot at the base in Doha went right over a $12 billion carrier with 3,000 American soldiers on it. If Iran wanted to hurt us, they could have launched 100 missiles at the Fifth Fleet, sunk a carrier, if they actually wanted to play. If they wanted to go, they could have done it. And they could have overwhelmed the Sea Whiz defense on USS Nimitz. I think it was the Nimitz there. It's the Fifth Fleet is sitting right here, literally right here. These rockets that they fired yesterday went right over a naval aircraft carrier strike group. It would have overwhelmed the anti-missile defense. Almost certainly. They could have easily taken out a carrier. Easily. Iran, for the sake of striking fear into America's heart, if that's what they wanted to do, if they really wanted to fight, they would have happily used 10% of their entire missile arsenal and completely overwhelmed the Fifth Fleet and sunk half of it. If they really wanted to play. If they really wanted to play, they shot missiles right over a carrier strike group. They could have taken out 90 aircraft, an aircraft carrier, and 5,000 American soldiers, naval sailors. They could have done it. They really could have. They have the capability to do it. They launched 12 missiles at the base in Doha to save face with their people, to say we retaliated. Khomeini is scared of Trump. He knows that the United States would wipe the Iranian regime off the face of the map. In fact, Khomeini knows that if he plays game with Trump, Trump will kill him. Without hesitation, he will kill him where he sleeps. So, why am I talking about this? Because we're analyzing this conflict to see whether it's going to continue so that we can figure out where Bitcoin's going. It's always so interesting to me when geopolitics is leading the charts because I like this kind of stuff. I'm a total freaking nerd for every subject you can think about. Okay, so we've analyzed the fact that Khomeini could have taken out 5,000 American sailors, sunk several American destroyers, sunk a carrier, but they didn't. Why not? Because Khomeini is quaking in his boots. He can say whatever he wants on Twitter because we know it's easy to talk big game when you're talking across the internet. But when somebody drops a bomb on your house, that's when you shut up and sit down. Khomeini's scared of Trump. Khomeini's not scared of Israel because they're doing absolutely everything that they can to level Israel. Look at the three sides. Iran is not scared of Israel. Iran is scared of Trump. Trump has come into this conflict, dropped bombs, made it very clear that there will be a ceasefire or I will kill you. That's the threat. Trump has made it very clear there will be a ceasefire, you will stop shooting missiles at each other, or I'm going to kill Khomeini. He's made it very clear. So we've established that Trump has threatened Khomeini's life, which we know. We've read it. We've read it on his Truth Social. We know where he is. We've decided not to kill him yet. That's what he said. We've established that Khomeini is... I gave my life to Christ 6 years ago, so I don't use that word anymore, but he's a little, and he's scared of Trump. Trump has made it very clear what side he's going to take on all this. He had to think about it. It took about a week to think about it, but he realized he has to walk both lines of Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and I don't want a protracted conflict in the Middle East because he got elected on both of those promises. The entire MAGA base, myself included, I voted for him both times in 2020 and 2024, don't want a protracted conflict in the Middle East. If Trump wants to get his successor elected, whoever that may be, if he wants to remain relevant politically after he's out of office, he needs to play to his base. The American people don't want any more protracted conflicts in the Middle East. He even made a post, I don't know where it is, I'd have to find it, saying we don't want regime change in Iran because it would bring instability to the region. He's not even interested in regime change, even though the American people are capable of toppling the Iranian government. It'd be very easy. Putting a new government in would be a nightmare, but it'd be very easy to knock out Khomeini and topple the government. It'd be very easy. Israel's almost done it on their own. They're tiny. These little guys over here, they've almost done it themselves. Okay, getting off topic. We've established Khomeini, little wimp. Trump, big dog. Alpha in the room, stepped in, said, you're going to do what I say or I'm going to kill you. It's that simple. And he meant business. We know that Khomeini responded to Trump's alpha move by launching 12 missiles, probably telegraphing it to the American people, to the American intelligence community before it happened so that nobody would get hurt and it wouldn't be considered a strong retaliation so that he can continue to talk a big game and act like a little chihuahua. Khomeini can mess me up. He ain't doing crap to Trump. Right? Trump knows that. Khomeini knows that. Netanyahu knows that. Israel doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Let's look at that dichotomy. We've looked at the relationship between Trump and Khomeini. Khomeini's a little wimp. He's going to do exactly what he's told. Netanyahu, that's the more complicated one because people don't know whether we're in bed with Israel or not, with Israel or not. Well, we did just see Trump threatening them publicly 4 hours ago, saying you better turn those planes around or else. We'll see. Israel, do not drop those bombs as a major violation. Bring your pilots home now, right? Obviously, Trump is on Israel's side, but hopefully he would be very much in the game of Sit down and shut up. Here's the deal. Here's what I'm trying to say. Let me see if I can be more concise so this is understandable. Trump has made it clear that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Trump has also made it clear that he does not want instability in the Middle East. Not wanting a nuclear weapon means he's going to tell Iran to sit down and shut up. Not wanting instability in the Middle East because he has a vested interest in the Middle East being stable so he can get reelected is going to cause him to tell Israel to sit down and shut up. Why does all of this matter? What's your problem with Khomeini? I don't have a problem with Khomeini. I'm just analyzing it as far as I'm not exactly the biggest fan either, but I'm not saying anything about my stance on Khomeini. I'm just saying as far as who's the alpha in the room, it's Trump, and Khomeini knows that. Trump has a vested interest in Iran not having a nuclear bomb because he made a promise that they can't. He also has a vested interest in Israel not continuing to shoot missiles at Iran and not continuing to drop bombs on Iran because he made a promise that there was going to be stability in the Middle East. Trump is going to tell, this is my prediction, Trump is going to tell Netanyahu and Khomeini to sit down, shut up, play nice, or else. Which is exactly what the leader of the which is exactly what the president of the United States ought to be doing. There cannot be nuclear weapons in the hands of Iran because they are constantly chanting death to America. And there cannot be continued bombing of each other, starting with Israel. Israel launched the first bomb. It can't happen. So here's my prediction. We've analyzed the geopolitics. Trump is the alpha in the room. Both sides know that. I think that he's the alpha in the room with Netanyahu. I don't at this point have reason to believe that Netanyahu is telling him what to do. Maybe he is. Who knows? What I can see, to the best of my understanding, Trump is the alpha in the room. He's telling people what to do. And he wants a ceasefire and he wants a peace deal because here's another reason why he wants that. Everybody says, oh, he's in bed with Netanyahu. Maybe he is. I don't know. Here's another reason. Trump nominated for Nobel Peace Prize over Iran-Israel ceasefire deal. Representative Buddy Carter credits President Donald Trump with preventing Iran from obtaining most lethal weapon on the planet. If you want a Nobel Peace Prize, you kind of have to broker peace. Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize to add to his collection. You can like Trump, hate Trump. You know he likes to pat himself on the back, right? He wants peace here. We've made it very clear. Trump wants peace in the Middle East. He's made that very clear. He's telegraphed that. His actions seem to be showing that. He wants peace. That's what he's showing. Again, why does this matter? This matters because the only thing at this point in time that I would think could drop Bitcoin down to $92,000 would be this conflict escalating. And at the moment, I believe the conflict is going to de-escalate. Here's the reason. Let's tie all this back together. Do you remember a minute ago when I said that this was all some kind of psyop, or this was all some kind of diversion or distraction? Why did Trump drop 420,000 pounds? That's 210 tons. That's 5 fully loaded semi-trucks, truck and trailer combos, fully loaded. 5 of them, 14 GBU-57s, 125 aircraft, 30 plus Tomahawk missiles. Why did he drop 2 million pounds of ordnance on Iran on bases that had been emptied months ago? Why did he do that? To threaten Khomeini and to show the world that he's willing to use military force to get his way. He spent a week thinking about this. He's playing chess, and he's playing at a level much higher than any of us. We can sit here as analysts and say, oh, I know what Trump's doing. He's doing this. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but what I can tell you is what is very obvious. What is very obvious is that he dropped these bombs knowing full well that there's a possibility that the uranium had been moved in advance. He dropped these bombs to threaten Khomeini and to telegraph to the world, I mean business. This is going to stop, and it's going to stop now. When the alpha steps into the room and he says, sit down and shut up or else, you sit down and you shut up or else, especially when the dude commands the United States military. Okay, so again, the reason that matters is because we need to figure out where the certainty is. We need to figure out what direction we're going. What direction are we going? The direction that we're going seems to be that Trump agrees with Israel that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, so he's more so on Israel's side, but he's willing to tell them both to shut up, sit down, and be quiet. Or else. At least he's willing to tell that to Iran. If we're going to drop down to 92, it's most likely because the war escalates. Trump, as we've discussed, has a vested interest and is willing to use military force to demand that the situation does not escalate. Unless we see some kind of black swan, I believe that a ceasefire, either the one that is in play right now or one that is in play in the near-term future, will happen. And a big part of the reason for that is because this is not Russia and Ukraine. The United States is not going to use military force and drop bombs on Russia to force them to stop attacking Israel. That would be a direct act of war, essentially, against Russia. And that would provoke possibly a nuclear retaliation. Israel and Iran are far smaller than us. Trump is far more capable of bullying both of them. He has complete and total military power over both of them. Mossad's pretty scary. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I understand. Oh, Israel's got Trump by the balls because Mossad's going to assassinate him. I understand those theories. It's possible. But I think Trump's a little bit too alpha to really care. I think even if that threat is there, I don't think he gives a crap. I think he's got the idea basically, all right, go ahead, try it. I'll make sure that a nuke goes off after I die, right? He's not, I don't think he's really playing ball with that. Maybe. I don't know. That's where I'm leaning. So the point here is Trump is probably going to demand that this ends as quickly as possible. As such, a drop down to $92,000 is starting to seem less likely considering he is signaling that he wants a ceasefire. What that means is at this point in time, I would be cautious about entering a short trade down to 92. I would also be leaning more so in the bullish direction in the short to medium term because I think that Trump is going to demand hostilities cease, which will allow the U.S. stock market to run. And we're seeing that happen right now. On open this morning, we have a big gap. We can see that Bitcoin, USSPY has opened above the recent local high that we set on June the 11th. We're not quite back to all-time high. All-time high sits up here at 613, but US S&P 500 is moving up to all-time high. If the United States stock market continues moving towards all-time high, which I suspect it will, then I expect that Bitcoin will continue moving towards all-time high as well. You could go into a long trade here. You could, because I am quite confident that he's going to demand a ceasefire. Here's the issue, though. If you do go into a long trade, there's always a possibility that conflict breaks out for another 2 or 3 days and you get liquidated. So I would be careful about trading this range, but I will tell you when I think a decent entry would be. If we see another, I don't know, let's say we have 3 days. Let's say we have 3 days go by without any hostilities, and it looks like the war is concretely over. If we do, and we see Bitcoin come up to this downtrending level of resistance right here, I would not be at all surprised to see this be an excellent entry for a long trade. Maybe something like this. Let's give you a bit of an example of what we're talking about here. If we broke above this downtrend, you could go into a long, probably here around maybe 108, with an expectation of us rallying back up to all-time high. You could give us a little bit of an exit right there, kind of finagle it a little bit. You have an exit right there below 112. And you have a pretty decent 2x risk-to-reward ratio. It's not great, but it's all right, especially the longer this takes, the better this becomes, because you can put your stop loss here at 106. There's strong support at 106. You can even see it here on the visible range volume profile. Between 105 and 106, there's strong support. So if we fall back down to that region, that's where you would possibly enter into, you would possibly exit that trade. But in the short term, a break above this downtrend would be met with daily chart Lux Algo buy signal, as you can see right here. That would flip the script and we'd be back bullish. We are witnessing a break above the RSI right now. We are witnessing a soon-to-be bullish breakout on MACD. So I'm suspecting at this point in time, done a lot of analysis. Let's bring it into some conclusions, trade setups, investment considerations. First things first, I suspect that if this ceasefire sustains, that the United States stock market and Bitcoin both will be back at all-time high within 2 weeks. That would be about, let's call it July 8th. By July 8th to July 10th, I suspect that Bitcoin and the United States stock market would be back at 112. First thing. Second thing, trade considerations. If you're a trader, a lot of money to be made in trading. You're taking this analysis and doing something with it. That's all you're doing. You're just applying what we're talking about, right? If the ceasefire stays in effect and we break this downtrending level of resistance, you need both. You need both. Don't go into the trade unless you have both. If the ceasefire is broken and we happen to break above this downtrend, do not go into a long because Bitcoin is being stupid. But if the ceasefire stays in effect and Bitcoin breaks above this downtrend with a little bit of force, somewhere around 108 is not a bad place to enter a trade to have us rally all the way back up to 112. That would be my 2 cents on that. Stop loss, I would put it here above 106 because there is a great deal of support in that range, and you would want to basically you'd want to look out for that. Us going back down to test that. Now, a big part of the reason why I would say that this is a good trade setup is because we have this descending trading channel here, which represents a medium-term bull flag with a price target up to 146. So it is possible that if you go into this trade right here, that you hold some of it or even double down on the trade after we break 112. Because if we break 112 and we have peace in the Middle East and the U.S. stock market is in blue sky breakout, oh, that's where Bitcoin starts heading towards 120, 130. At that point in time, you can enter into a long, stay in it for a couple of weeks. Get some really good returns. So what we need to watch out for right now is we need to watch out for whether or not the ceasefire is going to maintain. People are saying it's already broken apart. It's already gone. We have no idea. We don't know whether the ceasefire is going to break apart. There's reports that it's falling apart. There are reports it's strong. We'll see. I'll do some more research as we get off stream here and look. We just don't know which one it's going to be. But in the short term, if the ceasefire holds, and it might break once or twice, and Trump might drop another couple of bombs, and it might take a month, or it might happen today, we don't know. If this ceasefire at some point holds, then that is an excellent opportunity to find a long trade above a broken downtrend of resistance. And it also presents an excellent signal that perhaps Bitcoin is done building this massive inverse head and shoulders pattern. Big ol' inverse head and shoulders pattern right here being built. Remove everything on the chart. It's obvious. Uptrending level of resistance represents our shoulder line, our neckline. Uptrending level of support represents our shoulder line. It's absolutely beautiful, and it just so happens to be uptrending about at the inclination of the inflation of the United States dollar. Price target on this, which has not been invalidated, price target on this sits at $148,000, $150,000, call it $150. The next major rally that we are going to see is coming soon if this conflict subsides. Here's part of the other reason that I think that. We have a lot of bearishness in the market that had no real cause. We rallied up to 112 and we just weren't able to get back there. People are thinking, why is that happening? Is the market over? But now what everybody's going to do is they're going to say, oh, well, this correction is just because of the war. And the war's over, so now we're bullish. And so basically the bearishness that was not caused by the war is going to be attributed to the war. And if the war's over, then we can say the bearishness is over, which gives credence to the bulls taking the reins and leading us back up above all-time high. We're going in a very good direction with Bitcoin, assuming that this conflict ends soon. And I do think it's going to. I think that Trump has a vested interest in wanting to be the president of peace. And I think that he has $1 trillion a year military at his disposal to demand that that happens. And I think he's going to get his way. He typically does get his way. Whether you like his way or not, he typically gets his way. And so I think that there's going to be peace. It might take a couple of weeks. There might be some breaking. There might be some punishment. There might be some power struggles, if you will, between the two children and their father. But I do think that Trump's going to get his way. He's going to make them both sit down, shut up, quit shooting at each other, and demand that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. This really reminds me a lot of trying to separate my two toddlers, my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old. They're just fighting with each other, and they're like, but him, but her, but him, but her. Stop now. Quit. You're right. She shouldn't have done that. You're right. He shouldn't have done that. You both need to quit. Sit down, shut up, and be nice to each other. I don't actually say shut up to our kids. I wouldn't do that. But the point remains. sit down, quit fighting, have a ceasefire. I've been in Trump's shoes on the as far as with two little kids, right? That's what it looks like. Look like a couple of toddlers shooting at each other, except they're actual bombs and people are actually dying. And so I think that Trump is going to be demanding peace, and I think that's going to lead to a rally on Bitcoin, which gives you an excellent opportunity to invest at these levels because you have a lot of short, medium, and long-term confidence that we're moving to the upside, and it gives us an excellent entry for a long trade. So definitely, if you have not already, make sure to stay tuned on the channel as I continue to break down exactly what's going to happen from here. All right, I'm going to pull up some chat, read some chat. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, I want to give you guys a quick warning. I'm not going to say who. But recently, unfortunately, I got a call from someone who got scammed out of $560,000. $560,000. They were scammed by someone who is pretending to be another YouTuber. Again, I won't say who. This person, I know them. I texted them. I asked them, like, is this you? And they said, no, it wasn't them. So it was a scam. They were convinced to give hundreds of thousands of dollars into this pool. Now, this is a multimillionaire that this happened to. So they're not totally washed out, but they lost a lot of money, and it's really sad. But there was a scam where the scammers were literally using artificial intelligence to fake the YouTuber's voice and fake the YouTuber's face. And the person that got scammed was in calls with the YouTuber, quote unquote, with their face, with their voice, talking to them on like Zoom calls. That's how sophisticated these things have gotten. Scammed for months, convincing them, deposit another $100,000 for us to trade for you. Deposit another $100,000 for us to trade for you. Eventually, they got up to like $650,000. They let them get $100,000 out just to probably keep the scam up because they wanted to get them to $1 million of deposits. But please be careful. The hackers are getting scammers. Thieves are getting extremely sophisticated because they realize that the honeypot is so big they can put $100,000 into making these scams, into the technology, and they can design entire software just for one scam because there's that much money in play. Please be careful. Please be careful. All right. If you could only buy, sell Bitcoin 4 times a year, where would you buy and where would you sell / add leverage? Well, I guess that depends. We'd have to look at the chart to find a good place for that. One of them I would buy as much as I possibly could on the first day of the year. I would use one of them that way. I would if I could only buy 4 times a year instead of buying every day like I do, I would buy just about almost 80-90% of the time, completely regardless of the price. I'd just buy first day of the year. Dump all of the money into it. I'd leave the other 3 for trading. But I would dump as much of it as I possibly could into the market on the first day. The other 3, I would try and trade with them, probably. And if there was just a really, really, really big drop, then I would most likely just do the same thing. Dump a bunch of cash in as low as I could. All right. US dollar going up to 89 per minute. Smash the likes. I'm 27. We've been at war with the Middle East my entire life, and I've come out mostly unscathed other than getting poorer every year due to inflation. I'm buying ceasefire or not. And that's the very important point, is that regardless of what you do trading, it's always a good time to buy Bitcoin. Always a good time to buy Bitcoin. John said, the dude, quick question, will you be on here 4 to 6 weeks from now? I have been here for 8 years. I ain't going anywhere. Of course I'll be here in 4 to 6 weeks. Are you okay? Oh, fair point. We'll announce that when it's time to announce that. My wife made a very good point. I might not be here in 4 to 6 weeks, actually, because there's something coming up in 4 to 6 weeks. But I'm going to be here before and after that. I don't know exactly when I'm going to be gone for a little bit, but won't be gone for too long. Jeb is the strongest man I know. Well, thank you. If you follow TA, Bitcoin would be at 92 right now. Guess what? It's not. Yeah, and that's because we're following fundamentals right now. Okay. Let's see. Where is the aggressiveness when it comes to Putin? Again, Putin has nuclear weapons. Trump is the alpha in the room, but at the same time, Putin has nukes too. Iran doesn't. So Trump can bully Iran a lot more. Iran has to sit down and shut up. That's the idea. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. I'm going to wrap it out and go shoot today's video, so stay tuned for that. Working on the studio. Got to go get back to that. Trying to have that done by Friday. If you've not already, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo. I'm very, very pleased with Lux Algo. It's been very helpful in predicting these markets. I firmly believe that we are going to see a major rally very soon, and Lux Algo is going to help to predict that. So if you have not signed up for Lux Algo, make sure to do so by going to luxalgo.com, using the link in the description box down below, actually, so that you'll get a big discount. If you use our link down below, you'll get a big discount when you sign up for Lux Algo. Come on over here, get the ultimate plan, use the yearly version. Get the ultimate plan, use the yearly version, because you want these AI backtesting scripts here. If you're a trader, you should be trading. Put what you know to the test. Use the AI backtesting platform to optimize your indicators for each individual chart. If you have a good indicator and you have good AI backtesting software, trading becomes very simple. I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom. This is very simple. Use Lux Algo. Use the AI backtesting platform to get your indicators nailed in, perfect. It will almost trade for you. It's incredible what Lux Algo is capable of doing. Pair Lux Algo with a good exchange, and you are set to make some money in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. On top of that, Lux Algo also has their Discord server right here, the community, that has almost 200,000 people in it. So if you've not already, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo with the link in the description box down below. In fact, here's what you can do. You can use our link in the description box down below, and you can use coupon code ALGO30, ALGO30. Again, ALGO30. Use our link in the description box down below. Helps to support the channel. Use ALGO, ALGO30 for 30% off annual plans. Sign up with our link. Get the annual plan. Go to yearly, not monthly. You'll save a bunch of money if you do it yearly. $60 a month, and you can get 30% off by using our link. Data-driven traders, advanced backtesting with AI. Make sure to sign up right now. Go to luxalgo.com using the link in the description box down below. Sign up today for the ultimate plan with the yearly subscription model. Use ALGO, ALGO30 for 30% off at checkout. You will, because you signed up for the annual plan and because you use that coupon code and you used our link, you will end up saving like over 50%. If you combine all of that, you can get access to the very best technical indicator on the market with the very best AI backtesting on the market and the very best trading community on the market, all right now at Lux Algo. Sign up right now. If you haven't already, you should. Excellent, excellent, excellent use of funds. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next piece of content. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.